think the first thing is we all have to accept the fact that boards are made up normally of industry professionals. To be disrupted means to have a different perspective on your industry. And so I think the first thing you have to be willing to do is accept, as much as you're willing to accept a chief digital officer or chief digital disruptive officer, you need to accept the fact that it's time for you to have a disruptive officer on the board as well. That's a good place to begin. So although there's disruption in all industries, currently the economics of most industries are pretty good. That doesn't suggest they're not aware of the fact they have to do something different. But that doesn't mean they want it in their backyard, which means in their board meetings, in their board discussions, on their board governance. So if boards don't understand, whether it be not-for-profits or for-profits, the digital agenda, then they can't properly appreciate the amount of capital they need to spend, types of competencies they need to have, or what they need to measure and report to their funders in the not-for-profit world, or their institutional investors or private investors in the for-profit world.
If you're trying to create a culture for innovation, you're asking too narrow a question. Because there's a whole lot of other things going on at the same time. And culture is meant to satisfy all of them, not just one of them. And so I think we make a mistake. We're kind of Aristotelian, which was we parse it and say innovation is the big thing, therefore culture needs to support that. No, there's some other things that really matter. Put them together and then say, how do we create a culture that simultaneously affords a solution to all 5 or 6 or 7 of the things, right? So treat it as a system of problems, not just one. Innovation is a systemic issue, right? And so it's a culture question, it's a capabilities question, it's an organizational question, it's a strategy question, it's a purpose question. So assume an organization is strategy meets structure meets culture, right? And the links between them with a purpose on top of it. They've got to touch every element of that in a very deep way. And so it changes the nature of how they think about their role and the kinds of questions they ask.
So I think mobile is the most disruptive and adopted consumer behavior we've ever seen in the history of humanity, and I think some companies are just playing catch up in that area. I think as a result of that, you'll also start to see companies invest in machine learning and artificial intelligence, but not general artificial intelligence, but more specific, solving problems in a specific industry or in a specific use case. And then I would probably call out virtual reality, augmented reality, with more immediate focus on augmented reality, and then virtual reality being a longer time horizon. It's hard to imagine what the world could be unless you're actually using the tools that are present today, right? So it is a challenge to get people to imagine what augmented reality or virtual reality or what AI will do when the current technology of today isn't easily understood already. So I think there's either an education piece plus an experiential piece that needs to take place.
In a time of radical change, dealing with 21st century complexities that were really unimaginable even 10 years ago. And we're still using ethical models from a business perspective that were framed 40 or 50 years ago in terms of priorities, borrowing on traditions that are centuries older than that. So I think boards are still doing very slow ethical thinking, usually in reaction to a problem, whereas the scale of what's confronting most organizations today requires a real sort of proactive innovation in the way we do ethics, as well as in the way that we deliver new products, services, or digital innovation.